Welcome to Inspired Coach Podcast and our next expert interview for 2026. It's wonderful to have you here. Take a big, deep breath because today we're going to be talking about something that, in my experience, a lot of especially new and emerging coaches and space holders and service-based business owners struggle with a little bit and sometimes a lot, and that is sales, selling and marketing. We have the most wonderful person with us today to help us with these very things, and it is the brilliant Emma McQueen. Let me tell you a little bit more about Emma. Emma is a business coach for women who run service-based businesses and are ready to step into their next level. Known for her direct, practical approach, she helps women get clear on what they offer, committed to the numbers that matter, and confident in how they show up. Through her programs, retreats, and national community, Emma blends strategy with straight talking accountability. She believes growth comes from clarity of direction, commitment to consistent action, and the confidence to back yourself even before you feel ready. Her work empowers women to build profitable businesses without losing themselves in the process. And you can find Emma at emmamcqueen.com.au. Well, if you've just listened to that bio introduction and had any part of your heart, your head, your body, your sense of self, and your business knowing ping and go, oh, that's me and that's what I need, then this interview ahead is going to be for you. It is all about how to sell your coaching with greater clarity and greater confidence. And I think no matter where we are in our coaching journey, that's something that all of us need in some way. Enjoy this with Emma ahead. She's so fun and, as her bio says, very practical and, just as importantly, highly expert and very successful in what she does. And so what you're about to listen to works. Emma McQueen, welcome to Inspired Coach Podcast. I am so excited to have you on as our guest today and to have this conversation with you.
Oh, thank you so much. You're such a light in my Instagram feed, Jules. So it's lovely to be here.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Instagram, oh gosh, it's a hot mess sometimes, isn't it? But it's a bit of fun too, you know. It's like I try to keep thinking to myself, oh, it should be creative and fun. That's what I keep holding on to for myself with it. You know what, Emma? I really mean it when I say that I'm looking forward to this conversation today because I know that I'm going to learn something from you as an incredible business coach and somebody who I know is really passionate about helping coaches and service-based business owners with their sales and marketing. And I know that everyone who is a listener of this podcast around the world is going to gain so much from it as well. And that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about sales, selling, marketing, inviting people into the wonderful world of what it is that you do as a coach and a space holder. This is a tricky topic. It's a loaded topic. It's a challenging topic, and it brings up lots of feels for some people. Not necessarily everyone, and also sometimes some entanglements as well in multiple different ways. And I'd love to start out today, Emma, by asking you, as somebody who is a pro in this area and supporting people with it all the time, what are some of those entanglements that you see coaches get themselves into when it comes to their sales?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, well, there's a lot. I think sales is mainly mindset. Let's be honest. You have to kind of work out what mindset you want to come into sales or business development with. For me, sales is all about relationship. So it's actually not necessarily about sales, but about the relationship. But some of the entanglements and some of the things that get in our own way are as you know, Jules, women, especially women in business, we're very good technically at what we do. And we think that the work should speak for itself. And it doesn't.
Okay.
I wish it did.
Yep. And mic drop. You are 100% correct. And I wish that it did too, but it doesn't. And
No.
this is why we have so many coaches who are literally secrets.
Yes.
And, you know, you're right. They're incredible at what they do, but not enough people know about that.
Correct. And also,
going.
I will add, when you're coaching, sometimes you are the secret weapon. So I have had people say to me, "You're an excellent coach, but I can't tell anyone. I can't tell anyone because you're my secret weapon." And I think to myself, well, that's great. It's not going to help me grow my business, but okay. So, you know, like we just have to get a little bit better at not being the secret, you know? So that's one. That's a big one, I think. And the second one is that to sell feels desperate. And so if we sell, we're telling the world we're desperate. And I'm like, wowzers. It's such a myth, but that is another entanglement. Does that feel right?
Yeah, I think for some people it does. And I also think you could insert different words there that may resonate with people. Is like, and so if someone's listening and it's like, it doesn't necessarily feel desperate for you, I've also known it to be described. Some people say it feels grabby.
Yep.
Sleazy, yes.
Yep.
It feels icky. And yes, desperate actually. The more that I, have words circle, or it just feels even gross.
Yes.
And of course, we know that things can feel certain ways and that makes them appear very, very real, but that does not necessarily mean they are the truth.
Yes.
Because us inviting people to work with us and selling what it is that we do, which we know can be life-changing, is not desperate and it's not sleazy. It's not any of those things, even if it feels like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the other entanglement I will say, Jules, is sometimes we as the person offering the service are unclear on the service. And so we wrap so many words around it, trying to explain it to ourselves when we could just take a step back and go, okay, let's just get clear about what it is that I'm offering and be super clear about what it is that you have on the table.
I love that. I think that's actually really important. We can sometimes get wrapped up in a lot of professional development speak.
Yes.
Right? And trying to make things more complex and tricky and finessed than we actually need to.
Yes.
And we know we try to be clever, and we know the attention economy these days is very short. We actually just have to be really to the point and really clear and really simple. I think that's very, very important, Emma. So there's a lot of different burrows that we could go down here in relation to this. And you mentioned right at the start that you think that sales is very much about mindset. So let's talk about that a little bit more, given you're saying that one of the major entanglements that you see is that people have a mindset about sales that's essentially very negative, even though they might not want to. And so let's unpack that a little bit more and work out how we can help people with this.
I'd love to. I think the big thing that I will say is that I think how we approach sales is really important around how we see it. So basically, sales to me is actually about being in service to other people. And so if you can shift your mindset to say, I'm offering this thing because I'm in service to other people and I am not attached to the outcome, but more interested in the relationship, you can shift your mindset. It's a small tweak to begin with, but practice makes better. Practice doesn't make perfect in sales, but practice makes better. And I think if you're new into sales, you've got to build the muscle, right? Because we all haven't done the reps and we've got to do the reps.
Absolutely. You've got to show up again and again and again. And it's just so much of running a successful business and being an amazing coach is about skill development.
Yes.
Everybody knows how much I value and how important coaching skills and space holding skills are, because ultimately in the end we can talk about sales until we're blue in the face, but if you're still not good at what you do, there's only so far that sales will take you.
Yes.
But selling is a skill as well. And I think if we
Yes.
only actually saw many, many things in life as a skill, we could approach them in a much more practical, action orientated way and go, okay, the more I do this, the better it is that I'm going to become, and also take away some negative charge behind it when you
Yes.
release the attachment.
Yes.
But releasing the attachment is hard, Emma, because
I
of
know.
course what everybody wants is that every time they turn up, they get a new client.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice, wouldn't it? But everybody, that happens to no one.
No one. No one at all. Even the best salespeople, it doesn't happen. They do their reps, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And so releasing ourselves of the outcome, tell us a little bit more about that, because it is challenging, but it's necessary, isn't
Yeah.
it? Otherwise, what's going to
Yeah.
happen is that when we turn up and we don't get the sale, it's going to knock our confidence and we're not going to do it again.
Absolutely. And our self-worth. So many women attach their self-worth to their sales. And I'm like, you're not making enough sales to attach that thing to your sales, right? And so how I think about now, I don't think about sales as a numbers game, but you have to have the reps. So I'm going to use that language just so that people kind of understand it. So if you can imagine a funnel, and at the top of the funnel is the amount of people that you need to speak to or have a conversation with. And the further down the funnel you go, the numbers halve, if you like. We'll just use something that's easy. So let's say we've got 10 people in the top of your funnel and you're having 10 conversations with people. From those 10 people, you might have a more serious conversation with 5 of them. And from those 5, 2 might actually want a proposal. And from those 2, 1 might convert. And so the reps at the top need to happen enough so that you've got stuff that comes out the funnel, the right people that come out of the bottom of the funnel. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense, because
Yeah.
we know, and we started out this conversation with you talking about Instagram, and I think that's actually a really great segue into talking about this. We all know, or if you don't, everyone, you're about to find out, you can have tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands, right, of people following
Yes.
you on Instagram.
Yes.
And that does not mean that every single one of them, or even close to it, is going to end up being a client of yours or even a subscriber.
Correct. Just because you've got big Instagram numbers actually doesn't mean anything unless you're nurturing them and, all the things. So it's super interesting. I love it when people say to me, I've got thousands. I don't know why I'm not converting. And I'm like, what else are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about putting content out there. You actually need to build some kind of relationship with people. Like, what else are you doing? It's multifaceted. And if you're not nurturing your list. If you don't have a list, you're not nurturing your list. You're not actually having conversations. You're not turning up. It's really hard to make sales. What I will say, and the reason that I told you about the reps and the numbers, is that back to the attachment thing. We're attached to sales because we don't have enough people in the top of the pipeline, of the funnel. If you have 10 conversations that you're about to have, it's almost like, I compare it to dating, Jules.
Okay.
So if you, because I had a whole marriage strategy to find my husband, right? And the great thing about that is that I was going on a lot of dates. I was also dating my husband. Now, dating in the truest sense, I would catch up with him once a week or once every fortnight. We were just getting to know each other. So I wasn't cheating on anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I was dating. Yeah. But because I had 3 or 4 people on the go, I didn't obsess about him. And when we have 0 in the top of the funnel, we obsess about the 1. And so having more in the funnel means we can actually have those greater conversations and get better at our sales conversations, and we have more of a chance of converting because we've got more in the top of the funnel. So not all of our eggs are in one basket.
Okay. Okay. I love this and it's making sense. And what I'm hearing you say, Emma, and so let's go into this even more, is that the volume of people that are able to see you in varying different ways, whether that be online, social media, in person, etc., is very, very important for sales conversions. And so let me ask the 7-figure question or even the 6-figure question or the next client question. How is it that we can consciously go about getting more people in that purview at the top? Talk to us about that.
Okay, well, I can tell you what I have done because maybe that's a classic example.
Well, you're wonderfully successful at what it is that you do. And so, of course, but you're not going to say this is what you must do, but it's amazing to hear from successful people, this is what I did. Yes. And then people to make conscious choices about how that might suit them or some version of it.
Well, I'll take you on one extreme and then I'll bring us back because I realize that the story I'm about to tell you is not everyone's cup of tea.
Okay.
So when I first went out on my own about 9 years ago, I did not have a website. I did not have an email list. I had nothing. All I had was the fact that I was a secret and a very good coach, and that was it. And so I had one offer, and that offer was working with me for 3 months within organizations, working with me for 3 months for $5,000. That was my offer. And that was depending on the number of sessions, and it was mainly for women in organizations. All I had was my LinkedIn profile. That's all I had. So I had nothing yet. On the way into the city, I made a GoDaddy website because I thought actually I needed something, but I actually didn't. And I reached out to all my contacts on LinkedIn, and I used to work for World Vision. So I used to be a HR director. So I was known as Emma McQueen, World Vision HR Director, Executive Coach. And so I went out to my LinkedIn contacts and said, I'm not that anymore. I'm Emma McQueen at Emma McQueen Pty Ltd doing this, and this is the offer that I've got. Would you like to have a coffee? For 12 weeks, I went into the city. I had 3 to 5 coffees or cups of tea a day. Yeah, I know. I thought I'd take you on a journey. And I met with people day in, day out, and I got really good at just telling them what I was doing and catching up with them, not being clever with the wording, just being super clear. And at the end, kind of going, would this work for you? This is what I've got. And so business development, if you drill it all down, is I've got this thing. Would you like it? That is it. It's just getting a yes or no. It's actually really simple. Is it easy? No. But is it simple? Yes. And so that's what I did. I pounded the pavement for 12 weeks, Jules. Now,
I love that. That's great. I love hearing these stories. I'm worried for your heart about the caffeine level.
Yeah, I had to switch to cups of tea pretty early on.
Yeah, I would have to do that too. My limit is 1 a day. Otherwise,
same.
Oh my gosh. But I love that. That's it. And, people start with different things. And 9 years ago in the online space is a long time ago. And that's how you begin. But that's how you began. But the main thing that comes through there, and I know you want to take us in another direction now, is that you showed up and you had conversations where you were, I would imagine, growing in confidence all the time about what you did, what you offered, and how you could help someone. Releasing yourself of the attachment of whether someone said yes or no, knowing that eventually someone would say yes, and they obviously did.
I was terrible at sales, Jules. Not going to lie. Terrible. Had no idea. But I had to come out of an environment, not at World Vision, but the job before that when I worked in corporate. And my boss, Greg, had told me that I was terrible at sales. And so when I went out on my own, I'm like, I've got to get rid of this narrative that I'm terrible at sales. Is it true or not? And so part of it was, yes, I've got to build a business now, but also Greg told me I'm terrible at sales. Is that true? And so I had to go out there and do that. There was one cup of tea. I was sitting opposite this woman. I will never forget it. And she said to me midway, she said, Emma, I've tried to buy you 3 times. And I'm like, what? And I missed all the signals, right? Because she was like, oh, I'd love to work with you. And I'm like, oh, thanks, so kind. And I'm like, and I was batting it away. And then eventually she said, you're being really hard to buy right now. I'm like, oh, I am being hard to buy. And so after that, you get better and better because you get feedback in real time. But yeah, I was tricky to buy. So I was terrible at sales. And as the years have gone on, I've gotten better and better, and I can still be better. We're all learning, but I was terrible. So just for those listening, I don't want you to think I was a professional to begin with. I was terrible. I had a narrative that I couldn't sell, but I knew that my business relied on it. So I was just like, I've got to be good. I've got to get this superpower that is sales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. I love that you've shared that and you're making it really clear to everyone that you did not start from some amazing place of knowing exactly what to say. You were obviously nervous and a bit ungrounded because you weren't really hearing what someone was saying to you at the time, and haven't we all been there? And this is making me think back, to early conversations that I used to have with people as well, way back when I first started, when even things like, online discovery calls or conversations with people were not really a thing. Pretty much everything was done in person. And I had no idea what I was doing either, but I just kept my intuition just kept sending me the message, and I still believe this today, and I'm fairly sure you do too, is just be helpful. Just listen, Julie, and be helpful to this person, whatever it is that they are, where they're at, what they're experiencing. Just listen, just use your coaching skills, be helpful, be encouraging, be supportive, but then also be clear and confident about saying how you can help. And I think I want to come back to that particular bit, because this is something that I see some people fall over with. They're very good at encouraging, they're good at listening, they're good at helping. But then when it comes to that critical juncture of stepping into, and this is how I can help you, they fall over a little bit. I want to put a pin in that, Emma, because I know you wanted to take us in another direction about your journey. So I haven't forgotten that. So I'm circling back on our adventure in this conversation. Tell us more now about what happened after the GoDaddy website, because I'm looking at your website now and it doesn't look like some cheap GoDaddy. It looks schmick. It looks gorgeous. And so it's developed since then.
Yeah, well, I think it might be my 4th website now.
Yeah, of course.
And look, I want to talk about that too, but I also want to talk about, when we come back to it, how we don't necessarily talk about price on a call and then people get scared off because we allow other things to do the heavy lifting. So that's kind of where I started. I was very much face to face. It was before COVID, so it's face to face, and people were very happy to have conversations with me. If we swing it back, what do I tell people now around business development? What I tell them now is we need to be easy to buy. And sometimes that means just simply having a look at your website and going, actually, do I have a buy now button on the top crease of my website? Or can people find me easily on my website? And so now we kind of swing back, and I would say to people, get an email up and running so that you can start collecting email addresses. Because I think that's really quite basic. You can do that on a lot of free software out there. But then it's like, well, how do we get people onto that database? Like, just having that email is not enough. And so what is the thing that will help them where they're at and help you start to build your own database up? And for me, I've had different lead magnets over the time, different PDFs or checklists or different bits and pieces. Now I have a quiz that helps women. And the quiz itself, if all you did was the quiz, it kind of gives you a score on all the bits of your business. It's an incredible quiz as its own resource. And so that's kind of where you kind of start, because yes, you can do socials and yes, you can do paid ads, but you still need to have something that nurtures everyone, that where people can hear from you pretty often, where they don't have to miss it on Instagram. And of course, we want to make sure that we're asking for their permission to get added to the list, because I don't know about you, Jules, but last year we went to New York and Canada as a family. And every single store I went into, you had to hand over your email address. And it drove me insane, because I'm like, I just want to make this, I just want to buy this jelly cat. Like, why should I have to hand over my email address? But they are so onto it in the States. It's unbelievable. And we're still really shy on that as well. But in order to provide value to people, you need to work out how you're going to do it. So we've got an email list on there. As you've said, we've got a beautiful website and we've got a stack of free resources, and I've got my podcast. I just think you need to just pick one thing and do it really well and then add to it. I see a lot of people go into business, they're like, I have to do all the things. And I'm like, whoa. Let's get clear on one offer, and then let's work on one kind of piece that's going to work for your business. And email lists is still, I know that there's been lots of controversy around, is an email list good or bad or whatever, but I think it's the thing that has helped me in my business more than anything else.
I would say exactly the same thing for me as well. And it's interesting that you say that there's conversations happening around controversial question about. I'm like, really? I'm not hearing this, and I'm not necessarily surprised by that, because I'm so selective with who I follow, but I'm like, really? Like, how could that even possibly be? Because one of the things that is so important about our email list and newsletter community is that we own that when it comes through our website, whereas everything we do on social media, we do not own. We do not own anything we post there. We do not own the platform. We are simply guests on there, and anything at any time can change, including it. Whereas an email community and list we own, and we can get really private and really in service with. And so sometimes I think I get asked after 25 years this year in online in business, if, what are some of the things that if I had my time over that I would do better or not do sometimes. And one of the things that would land in the top 10 is that I would have started an email newsletter list a lot earlier than what I did. Now, 25 years ago, things were very different in the landscape to the way they are now, but that would be one of the things. And so I think that is a really great tip to give everyone, to start out down that path. And Emma, let's come back now to the confidence piece about sales and what, that part about telling people about what we do.
Yeah.
Can you, just share a little bit more with us about that? Because in my experience, there's nothing more client attracting than someone who can talk about what they provide with an authentic, lovely, genuine confidence and self-belief.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a big topic, but I'll try and do it some justice. Okay. So I think a lot of the work that I do a lot of clarity calls, so people can have half an hour with me. I try and be super generous in that half an hour. So I kind of say, if you're stuck on something, let's have a conversation, and you'll get a sense for my style and whether or not it fits. And I think the other thing that I will say is, if there's no fit, there's no point. I think sometimes we are so desperate to get new clients in, we don't check, actually, is this person right for me? Am I right for them? And so you got to check the fit. And for me, the fit is, are you willing to do the work? Do you have a growth mindset? Are you focused on results? are you prepared to lean in when it gets a little bit tricky? And they're kind of the things that I'm looking for when I'm on a clarity call with someone, right? And so the first thing for me is around what's the problem that is currently in front of them? What are they telling me is the problem? And then what might be the problem? So, someone might say, a lot of people say to me, Jules, I've got a marketing issue. And I'm like, okay, talk to me about what that marketing issue looks like. I'm not getting enough leads. I'm like, okay, that might be a marketing problem, but what happens when we open your calendar? Can you show me where business development is in your calendar? And they're like, what? I'm like, where's the spot for your business development? Where do you build relationships? If you open up my diary at any moment in time, it's marked in green under relationships. And they're like, oh, people just reach out and I just do a call. I'm like, okay, right. So one, we're not planning for even these conversations. And then we leave it up to the other person, and we have to guide the conversation. So from a 30-minute conversation that they would have with me, which is normally on the Zoom, we would spend a good chunk of that, a good 20 minutes, working through whatever the issue is. And I give them a couple of tips on what it is that they need to do. Also, I can't help myself, Jules. It's the problem with being a coach, isn't it? You want to go into coaching, but you also want to help someone get unstuck. But also, it's a sales call, so we need to be really careful about that. Also, I will say I'm not a psychologist, and sometimes people actually need different help. And so I will say to them, actually, this is what you need is this. I can see this very clearly, and I'll give you some names, but that is not me. So it's knowing your own boundaries as well. And so at the end of that time, I kind of will say to them, let's talk about, and I've gathered enough information that I can say, here's how we can work together. Or I've got someone else that you should speak to. And here's how we work together has to be pretty clear. And so having offers in your back pocket or offers that people know you for is super helpful. And so I will always say, this is the thing that I think will help you the most. And I talk them through whatever A is. And it sounds something like, here's where you're at. Here's what I've got. I think this will be a fit. This is the cost, or this is the investment. And then I will always follow up with an email with all the bits that we've talked about. The amount of women who do not do that final bit, this is what the investment is, astounds me. Because they're letting the email later do the heavy lifting, and it doesn't work. So in a conversation, you have to listen, you have to make sure that you're the right fit, and you have to offer the thing, and you have to offer the thing with whatever the price of the thing is, so that there's no one falling off their seat when they get your email and they haven't budgeted for that, or they don't know how they're going to afford it, and then you get ghosted. So many things, right, in that conversation that you need to it's about getting to know them. It's about knowing whether or not you're the right person for them. And then it's offering the thing that you've got and telling them what it costs to work with you. Like, that's just business. And does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I really like what you say right at the end there, Emma, when you say that's just business. And that is business, and this is a part of business. And so us being in any way resistant or avoidant or burying deep down about inclusions, costs, boundaries, what things are and what they aren't, how we can help and where we might not be the best fit, etc., is an absolute necessity. It is just a necessity. And everyone, we know this is not easy.
Yes.
Please know that we know that. Someone that is as experienced as Emma and myself as well, we can now have these conversations without the charge behind them. But that's only come about because of practice and doing it again and again and again. And that means you can do it too. It's not a secret. It's not a special sauce. We did not come out the womb expert saleswomen. Right? It's like none of that. No one tapped us on the shoulder and anointed us in any way. It's just doing it again and again and again.
And it's the unsexy work. It's the unsexy work of business
But
of being the CEO.
yes, but it leads to the sexy work.
I know.
Right?
I know it does. I know it does. Sometimes you got to crawl through the mud, right, to get to the other end. I hear you, but it's got so much charge and so much scariness to it, and all the things. So it's just like you kind of have to push through the uncomfortableness to get to the growth bit, which people find tricky.
Yeah, but you just keep showing up again and again. And I think listening to and learning from amazing, heart-centered, very service-orientated, ethical coaches such as yourself, Emma, is helpful along the way.
Yes.
When I think about where I was doing this completely blinkered in that I didn't have any role models out there or anyone that I could learn this from. I was simply having conversations with people and over time becoming aware enough to pay attention to what was working. It was like, oh, hang on a second. That's the third time I've mentioned it in this way that's resulted in a new client. I think there might be something in that. Right? And that's it. But now people have incredible opportunities to learn from amazing people like you by listening to them on podcasts like this one, taking your quiz. I know you run wonderful events and so much more. So what an incredible resource and gift you are to this industry. Emma, thank you for coming on Inspired Coach Podcast today. It's been absolutely wonderful to have you on as a guest. And everyone, I can't recommend enough that you connect with Emma about many different things that she does. But in particular, if you're someone that needs assistance with sales and marketing and inviting and selling your services, Emma is a truly amazing person to connect with at a deeper level. Emma, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Jules. And if anyone's going to try it, let me know. Tag me. I want to see them try it and do it and go, I heard you and I did this and it's amazing.
Well, that would be incredible. So everyone, when we release and share this episode, comment on the post or when it comes out on socials, Emma will be tagged. And do it together. Don't do it alone. Buddy up with someone and practice together. Do these things together, because that can take a lot of the charge out of them as well. So
totally
amazing.
Totally.
Thank you so much, Emma.
Thank you, Jules.